Welcome back to another episode of A Candor Gander with your host, Sergeant Filthy McNasty. We're starting a bit different than usual, having the gang up here. There's no easy way to sort of reiterate maybe a news you may have all heard by this point, and if you haven't, sort of introduce you to what's going on with Starbuck. This is all sort of information he shared with us, which isn't too much, but the facts as we know him is uh, you know, uh, within the span of 24 hours, Starbuck lost his father and his house burned down, which is any one of those two is bad enough. The two together, very unfortunate. From all accounts, my understanding is they're okay, family's fine. But they did sort of leave the house with the clothes on their back. So with that said, there's a bunch of things going on in the community where people are trying to sort of help the Starbucks family. There's a GoFundMe page. There is a donate link pinned to the top of this page or on the message board here. That is Starbucks donate link. Any donations that are made during the stream will go directly to Starbuck and his family. I believe as well, KP. I believe you're listening. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you can, and I'll get the details here in a second. Let me see if I can read it off here. There is a jewel reward pool on donate. So if we're streaming this weekend, which we are, we're streaming live. Anyone who hits the link will get a five. They'll get five jewel, and then five jewel will be given to Starbuck. It's 300 jewel, and with that five jewel, if you want to pay that forward, you can. Anyhow, there is no easy transition from this. We'll just go ahead and do the introduction. And again, any donations made tonight will go straight to Starbuck and his family. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road.
Something nothing nasty. He's the king of the night. Streaming like kingdom high. Sticks inside. Cube mega. And tight. Bringing the heat. We're gonna take flight. Talking about we're breaking down the door. We're the warriors, dancing in the night, raising hearts, ready for the fight to high kingdom. It's a rebel time in the sea. We're taking flight.
I've been gone a minute. I've missed you all. I've been gone a few weeks. I think if I'd missed another week, I might. Yeah, there's a stipulation. There's fine print somewhere where I may have been booted from the castle. I am not sure. Essa, you probably read the page length contract we had to sign
Of
to
course.
get on. I didn't, but as my sort of legal advisor, you advised me to jump on this ASAP. Kupo, thank you very much for the donation. We'll go ahead and try and put these up as they come in, when they come in. But that's not what I want. That's not what I want either. That's what I want. Welcome back, everyone. Dags, how you doing? It's been a minute. Jewelers Podcast. We were up like it was like a reasonable time here. You were up at 1, 2 in the morning trying to get your Hercules stuff all together. That got settled, I guess.
Yeah, and it was stupid because it was like $200. So like I stayed up till like 1:30 just for $200 in assets, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm buying like thousands of dollars," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I got it. They fixed it. Not everyone was as lucky.
And they sold out. They
Hey,
sold
and
out.
actually, I actually got to have like a one-on-one conversation with the Brown Gent who just popped in that Discord at like 1 a.m. And so, I mean, that was nice too.
Oh man, yeah, it was a lot of familiar faces there at middle of the morning for what you were there, sort of doing your thing, raising hell, kicking trash cans over. But you got what you were needing, so that's great. That's good.
Yeah, I saw you there
Uh,
too. Did you get what you wanted?
I did. I got what I was wanting. It's sort of the too poor for my own good. Unfortunately, right? I'd love to be able to put millions of dollars, but I'm out of kidneys. I've sold all the children. I've got no more couch. I've got nothing. I'm here in the garage, right? But who knows? Hey, maybe my two torch turn into something, Tags. Maybe I become a millionaire. When Lambo, you guys remember that? Kupo, how are you doing, buddy? Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks. I went on vacation, and then we just didn't have a stream, and I'm back. So glad to be back on the stream, Sarge.
Glad to have you back, Kupo. Very much appreciate it. Appreciate the fact that you've been able to join us. Kupo took a week. I took 3 weeks. I guess that's what happens. Si, you've been pushing me for the better part of several weeks now. When stream. Here we go. Here we are. We're here today. How's it going, man?
Good. I'm really excited to watch. Thank you for giving me front row seats. This is really exciting. But yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you back. I'm worried that Kupo hasn't had his coffee in several weeks, but that's really the only reason I was worried about you being gone. Like I was just worried this man was not getting hydrated. So
Yeah.
but as far as the kingdoms go, all's going well. I got some teams that I just did some hunts while I was getting ready for this, and I like the Seer, man. I like the Seer a lot.
I like this here too. We'll get to that in a minute. France,
Hey,
how are you
Sarge.
doing? You're here
I'm
repping Bogside Chat. My understanding is Bogside's on the apology tour. Is that right? Am I?
Please don't lump Bogside in. There was one little incident. It was discussed.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing, right? When you have to go on and apologize like that. But I think he handled it well.
He handled he handled it, and I did invite Maddie on, and he outright refused. He said no.
Bogside has asked him not to make public appearances for the time being. We're gonna get him back out there. He's on the bench right now.
He's on the bench, well deserved. Pirate's not a thing, but I'm not one to sort of take snippets of conversation and put them, here on screen. But I'm gonna do that just for you. There's a donation.
Just this one time.
Thank you very much. Just this one time. But it's at the bequest of Mr. Matty Pesk himself.
As many of you are aware, I chose Pirate to be the next class coming out, and I was incorrect.
Yo, listen up, let me break it down. Natty, he's been wearing a frown. Off with my glass, that will be next. But in this game, you gotta cross my must confess. Now I got a job on the line. Unite kids for the chaos, fusion action. That's me, paid outside, look like outside. Proceed, we'll see, last with many things. Straight up, no pirate, shilling, see that hole.
That was great.
AI did all of that, and AI
Wow.
did it in 5 minutes. Kudos to AI. I take none of the credit. It's a very cool platform, Udio AI music generator. If anyone's interested, it cost me all of 50 cents to do that, and I think I got my money's worth. I don't know about you all, but super fun. Anyhow, France, Chozo, thank you very much for the 50 jewel. Again, Starbucks family will, I'm sure, thanks you. France, Pirate, Seer, what I mean, the point is, we got a new class out there, and I don't know
We
who out
did.
there was. I don't know who out there was fading Seer. You know, I was listening to the AMA. Someone out there was fading Seer. I suspect whoever was fading Seer is in the crowd tonight. Raise your hand if that was you. Who was fading Seer? Sticks in. You were fading Seer. Why is that?
I just didn't think it was going to be super fun. You know, I thought it was going to be a kind of dull support with like, ooh, I don't know, a little bit of skill thrown in. And I already don't like support. So you make them harder, make them take skill. And I'm like, nah. Was my initial like gut reaction to the codex that was written. But, you know, I'm a convert. I've fully changed my tune.
There you go. There you go. Dag, Scoopo, friend, Seer. I mean, any other thoughts there?
I was
Well,
just wondering
you
how
first.
excited Guy Kid is about the double bubble, triple bubble, quadruple bubble squared.
Oh yeah, he's into it.
He's a hubba bubba kind of guy.
He could, if he can make every match last 40 minutes, he would, with a smile on his face.
He would, and you know what? To each their own. Yeah, I'm thinking what 2 hour fights at best. With that strategy, I
Well,
don't, I don't have
I did
patience
see
for.
someone in Discord. Sorry, had a bubble up to, I think like 20,000 HP, something like that.
Wow,
Yeah.
oh, that's
So
impressive. That is impressive. Uh, Kupo, you want to say something about Sears thoughts?
I mean, well, if you think about it, when they were introducing the new items into the boar hunt, we got ourselves the drumstick and we got the Gorax, which automatically kind of assumed what pair came out with those as a release. So we automatically thinking like the Seer Berserker. But this team has also done some wild card things before where like, okay, here's what we got going on. It's like this is what we actually got going on. So I was thinking they might be pumping out like the Wizard or something like that instead. So no, it was the Seer. It's pretty much as like 95% of the community initially expected.
Yeah, no, and for the record, Maddie's not banned from Candor Gander. Candor Gander is banned from Maddie. Last I heard, I don't know, France. Is that right? No, we're
it's
good.
not
We're good.
Gander specific.
Oh,
He's just on the bench right now.
he's on the bench, not a gamer. I love that. I don't know how you did that, SI, but that's impressive. That's good. I love
Magic.
magic. Um, Duels, France. I think you might have a thing or two to say about duels. You're excited. You're enthused. You could hold that another 10 weeks. I understand. Is that right?
Oh, you wanted to jump right into it? I did ask Duels to get touched upon tonight. I know we were gonna roll right in. Thought maybe we'd just gush over the Seer a little bit more.
No. We're jumping into duels. I gotta get you. If the caffeine's gonna kick in here in a second. I want. Peak France. Here in a sec. Let's hear it.
Yeah, no, I was listening to Mythic Squad last night, and Beeve said something that I thought was pretty interesting and kind of on the nose, that just stone prices are way too high and need to come down to earth, and that got me thinking about duels and being, I think a big driver of the current stone prices, and I just think that the deathmatch duels were just a little too ambitious. It looks like I think that we're in a spot with duels where if they rolled out something very similar to what we had last season, minor changes, minor improvements, but it was kind of on schedule, the community and the economy would have been in a better place than, what they release, I'm sure is going to be fantastic, right? But it's now, I don't know how long this offseason's been. I think it's nearing a month, or community events that are kind of waiting to take off from it. So I don't know. It's not the worst thing in the world. I just think this was just a little too ambitious. I think it's okay to say that maybe Frisky bit off a little more than he could chew on this one. But that, and just not to monologue too long, but just the idea that we have this hero inflation topic, and the answer we keep getting is we can't have the vote until Halliday is ready, and that can't be worked on until after Duels is done. So
Couple of things though.
treading water here.
Couple of things though. One, Adventures Arcade. I'm not complaining too much. I've been winning some raffles. If you're sleeping on on that, you're sleeping on raffle tickets. You're sleeping on winning raffles, as far as I'm concerned. One, two. It's the duel to end all duels. It's the duopolis. I mean, does that not excite you whatsoever? SI, Dags, Kupo. I mean, is there not something to that?
Oh,
I think
Dags, you want to go?
I mean, my brain is so on PvP. Like, my brain's been like, I've been on PvP since before Crystal Veil was released. So like now that we're close, I mean, yeah, we're doing a duels league. I'm excited for that. But it's like once they said like PvP is coming, I'm like, shit. Like, there's my mind. Like I'm spending all my jewel making heroes. Like I haven't stacked shit. Like I'm guns blazing right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's been a long time since we've been waiting on duels. But you said a month. I feel like maybe it's been longer than that. But like that's
It
surprising.
might
I
have
felt like
been.
that's because if it's only been that long, then like shit, that's really been that long. But it does feel like it's been a long time. I know things have been waiting on it, and I think that's a good point. But at the same time, I feel like I don't remember even which show it was on, but Frisky was on someone's side stream, one of our poser streams, a few weeks, maybe a month ago, and he was talking about it. And like the goal of this is to free him up from doing work on duels for like a very long time in the foreseeable future. It looks like maybe like span of many months. So yes, it may have been more than he anticipated the chew, but it looks like the chew is almost through. And it is something. The reasoning the reasoning that he gave for building it was that it was something that the community had always just kind of mentioned that they would love to have. And I like it that he just did it for that reason, and also because it's kind of like a call out, because the community is always saying they want these drastic things. Now we'll get a chance to see if people actually use it. And if he didn't do it now, it sounds like it wouldn't be on the list like for a very, very, very long time. So while I agree with you, like I don't think any of your arguments are wrong. It's just like, is there going to be a better time in the mid to near future? No. So at least they did it, and that's pretty cool that the community was the reasoning behind doing it.
And like with the wait, like how often is there a bad launch? So it's like,
Well, no, I don't think there'll be a bad launch. I just
that's not what I'm saying. Like take the time and do it right, because it's like look at yesterday with Hercules. I was blowing up Bolon. I was like, if you're gonna work with these guys, like this bullshit ain't gonna cut it. So let's just not let them touch anything. I will wait. I will wait for a good product. That's kind of where I am. Like I have no problems with the dual delays. No problem at all.
Sure. I think my point is more just around the flow of the economy and the idea that duels with the tiers, not just the raffles and the actual tiered levels that they have, releases things into the economy, and we're taking a longer break from that. And I think that the stone prices are being impacted as well as other things. So in my mind, if the champions, or excuse me, the death match was going to take this long, he could have built it on the side and implemented it next off season. I don't know. There's a lot of coding stuff that I don't fully understand there. It seems like this was something that he thought was going to.
Sorry, the only thing there is that I feel like he's not going to be doing anything the next offseason. That's the whole idea of the main update that he was building on the perpetual dual side.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was driving my argument that like if not now, it would have been a very long time.
Sure. So it doesn't bother you guys, this whole idea that the community's been talking now for, I'll again say almost a month, but a few weeks, about hero inflation, that the topic was brought back up, and the answer is can't do anything until the holiday wallet is fixed, and the person that does that is Fox, who's still working on duels.
Is there any piece of
yeah,
that thinks
right.
that's maybe strategic in nature? I mean, it sounds cynical. Maybe maybe I'm wearing one too many layers of tinfoil on my head. But is that strategic in nature? Maybe are we trying to address an issue that may be a non-issue come PvP? I hate to say, right? at the risk of sounding like a broken record yet again, this may be the piece that brings people in, and sort of has them stick around for the long haul. But I think we're all leaning on PvP, and if anything's going to attract that player base, it is PvP. And by the time we get around to voting on this, well, sort of, creating a fix, voting on it, implementing. By the time all that rolls out, we may have to vote on retracting the vote. Any any thoughts there?
Um, I mean, I like everything you said, Sergeant. I think that's certainly a possibility. It's impossible to say what's going to happen with the whole vote. As to Fran's point, just like about whether it upsets me, yeah, it does. But at the same time, the amount of time that it's taken has given us a lot of time to really think through it. And there's certain things that I believed, when Hubert first raised it again and he put out those numbers, I heard some other perspectives that I wouldn't have listened to if it had just been a vote right then. But like generally speaking, I do agree with your point that it is annoying that it is kind of cutting into the time necessary for such a big aspect of the game. You're right.
Yeah. I think, and I'm like, I don't want to get too negative here, and I feel like the natural flow of this is putting me in that spot. But to me, it's just forget the actual what I'm saying I want to vote on, but just the idea of community voting in general being deprioritized for a mini game, for something that, and not to put down duels when I say that, but it makes me wonder about the priority list there.
Let me provide you a counterfactual. It's not just duels. It's the burn mechanic, and I don't know what this deathmatch burn mechanic looks like. Right? It may be a nothing burger, but let's say it isn't. It's the answer. It's the solution we're all wanting to vote on, conceivably, potentially. Koopa, I mean, your 2 cents.
Yeah, so I mean, the way I kind of got this, this is supposed to be like the duels to end all duels. It's been multiple months since the duels has been live, so we've been missing a key factor to like the kingdoms right now, a playable factor that actually has burnable mechanics to it, and to bring life into the ecosystem that we were talking about. Whether you like the whole concept of the prizes or not, or climb up the rankings, but what I've gotten from this. Fox is supposed to be joining back up with the main PvP team and kind of working on something else besides just duels once this kind of comes back out. So it kind of put the key player back into the ring again for us to progress further down the roadmap that we're looking forward to, and especially with the whole PvP thing that has been teased.
In France, if really, I mean, aside from stone prices being high, I mean, what's the other? That, yes, it's frustrating, and I know Gags, friends, SI, all of Mythic Squad, you guys are hero building today. For me, I can stand to wait a minute. My strategy in sort of this PvP venture is I wanna wait just long enough to know what sort of the full scope of the game looks like as far as codices and and heroes involved to dark summon then. And who knows what happens to stone prices at the time. But aside from stones, I mean, is that really sort of the major pain point for you all? Walk me through that.
Well, I think it's a few things. I think the stones are important. You mentioned ADFK Arcade, and that being a way that you can get raffle tickets. Right now, it's the only way to get raffle tickets, unless you still have them from the last dual season. I talked to the team a lot around DFK Fight Club back in the day, and they were always very firm on the idea that they didn't want to have to push people to third-party games to feel like they had to do that to keep up. And I feel like that's kind of a situation that we've fallen into here. And again, I don't want to be too hard on it because I don't think Frisky planned for it to take this long. It seems like some bugs have come up, some things have happened, and that's just the way things go with this kind of stuff. I think my bigger point is around the holiday wallet, and I'd love to go back to the AMAs to see when that was first mentioned, but I want to say that's been an issue for, is 6 months fair? And when you think about that, as
it's been a while,
like that seems like a big deal, and it seems like one that just hasn't been looked at all. And now it's kind of coming to a head.
Yeah. No, I think you have a really strong point with the Halliday wallet. As to like the stones, Sarge, to go back to your question there, I think it's not really, like 200 Joule at the same time that it's like the highest stone price ever. It's also like, what is that? $30? So I'm still not like too kind of mind blown by it. I mean, yeah, sure. Would I rather spend less? But yeah, maybe. But at the same time, do I think that's overvalued? No, in dollar terms. And then, but as to like the general point as well, that's like a result of a short term, like force of the market, right? We don't have duels, we don't have that selling pressure. So I mean, really, I think, yeah, you raise a good point about, yeah, it shouldn't be that way forever. It's not going to be. It has been that way a little too long, but at the same time, it's also just like maybe you should sell it if you have some too, take advantage of what might be a drop when the supply opens up. I'm not a financial advisor and I'm currently a buyer of these things. So if you sell it lower and undercut people, I would like that. But at the same time, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I can see the prices of these going down like shortly after duels opens up and people start getting rewards more.
It looked like the first mention, I found a Medium article, Halliday DFK related September of 2023. So it's been some time. It's like 500 crypto years. If my math sort of math's right. I mean, were you guys dueling hard before the season ended? I mean, I wasn't necessarily, but you guys were, Brent. You're nodding your head.
Yeah, I was. I enjoyed the last update with the King of the Hill feature. I found it to be a lot of fun, and I was trying to get on that leaderboard as much as possible. Not challenging for the top spots per se, but collecting medals. So I was really enjoying it, and I'm sure I'll enjoy what comes out next. I think it's not an attack on duels itself so much as just what it's doing to the ecosystem as a whole. As I mentioned, and you were mentioning this is a temporary thing, but like those prices, they're high because of something that is happening outside of something artificial. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of I'll reserve my thoughts for when it comes out. If it's awesome, if it's amazing, it's like, wow, okay, I can see why it waited so long. If it's underwhelming, maybe we talk about that at some point. But I suspect it'll be what we're looking for and then some. I mean, the deathmatch piece, that's exciting. It's new, it's different. Curious to see what that ends up doing to hero inflation, if anything. I didn't think dark summoning would do much, and here we are, sort of. I think last I saw, well over 250,000 heroes have been burned. So, surprise, surprise. Any final thoughts on that subject?
I think that the deathmatch duels is not going to be used nearly as much as like the people have called for it. So I don't think it's going to do very much. I don't think it's meant to. I think the new burn mechanic isn't deathmatch duels. I think that's just like a side quest.
I do got a question, actually. Maybe somebody knows, somebody already pointed out, but what's the incentive of the deathmatch besides hero burn? Is there a greater reward option involved with it?
No. It's my understanding that there is no incentive. It's just like, do you want to go for it with the other guy? Which is like fair. That is something that the community is asked for. It's like, hey, why don't you just put it in? I've seen people say stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, they're doing it. And it's good for side events, right? Like I could host a deathmatch tournament, right? But I think generally it's not going to do very much. It's going to be something that's in the thousands, not the millions of heroes burned.
I mean,
not the hundreds of thousands,
Do you think a lot of people are calling for it? Like, yeah, it gets said, but cosmetics should play a role in PvP gets said almost every other week. Like there are people saying things.
Well, yeah, no, I get that. And that's part of the reason why I'm happy that they did it, because I think it's going to be one of those things that reinforces not listening to like all the just crazies so much. But maybe that's a vain hope of mine, but we'll see.
ADFK's here. We were just shouting out Adventures Arcade, ADFK Arcade. It's super awesome. Right now, currently, the only way you can get your raffle tickets, and while I'm plugging, again, that Starbucks donate link is pinned to the top of this video, I believe. Any donations made will go straight to Starbucks and family. Um, anyhow, let's switch it up. Let's talk about something else.
I like rock and I cannot lie. And I cannot lie. Brothers can deny.
All right. PvP. I mean, what are you guys doing to? I know that sounds like it's sometime between now and later. I think I can stand by that statement. Is when PvP is being released. What are you guys doing to prep for that? Are you guys doing anything? Are you guys sitting and waiting, maybe like me? Are you not sharing your secrets because they're trade secrets and you refuse to share that juicy info with anyone?
Me personally, I've got nothing myself going on. I've just been raising my team as I've always been, putting in the stats I feel could be best. And as you know, I'm still leaning towards the whole crafting concept. So I'm more of a bench player than person going in the ring to actually fight these people. So I do want to play PvP myself personally, and I am going to play with it. I don't see myself playing with some of these heavyweights that are out there. They're going to be probably whipping out like 3 Mythic Dread Knights per match or something like that. But I am very interested in PvP myself. But I'm not doing anything crazy right now to play for it, just because we don't know a lot of what's going to be actually happening other than the hints that they've been dropped right now. So what we're doing might be completely wrong. So I've just been playing it safe for the time being personally.
I two statements there. One, I think I appreciate the Mythic Dread Knight comment. I think that'll be irrelevant, at least at the beginning. I think we won't see Mythic Dread Knights into
They did say they were
play.
going to bring out the basic classes first. I'm just throwing out like a big, like wild whatever.
And then to add further to that statement, because I'm sort of like you, and I've heard others. I think I've heard Juke Dads, I've heard USI make comments to you haven't said this, France, because you've got the sexiest Dex Archer in the game. That's fact. But I've heard others who Skiller. He's not a gamer. He doesn't game. At this point. We are the sort of de facto experts on DFK to think an outsider is gonna come into this game and at least for these few first couple tournaments play competitively. I don't believe that for 1 second. I think a combination of you have a good hero, and on top of that, you sort of tack on a nice pet, the right equipment, and a drizzle of RNG. I mean, any one of us, I think, are set up to at the very least, if not compete, have a very sort of outsider's chance at winning top 3. Am I crazy for thinking this?
Yeah, I don't think. I honestly, I think someone is gonna just come in and sweep. I really do, 100%. Like, I'm expecting to be mid tier at best for PvP for sure. And like, cause like, who was it who went and looked? Was that you? Was that you, France, who went and looked at all the archers? Like, one guy owns all like 4 of the archers with the best luck stat.
Top 6 of the top 10 in luck.
Yeah. It's not gonna be a
Name I've never heard
loudmouth
of.
with a camera in his face. It's gonna be a silent killer because that's how it is. And then,
But a known silent killer in the community today. I have a hard time thinking an unknown outsider is gonna come into the game at
Why not?
PvP launch. I just let's
The
be honest, the game's
heroes are
kind of
very
fucking
cheap.
complicated.
Right?
Yeah.
Assassins lurk in the shadows. Who's to say who's not going to come up behind you? You're right into PvP,
Yeah, I mean, I think
That's
we
true.
overemphasize sometimes how complicated it is. There's a lot to it, definitely. But if someone gets the bug, the DFK bug, they see it, they like it, and they're like, oh man, like it's there's enough there that they can, be interested in it for a while, and nothing's too hard to understand. I think the way I'm preparing, and I think the way a lot of people are preparing, is trying to just continually make heroes that are PvP caliber. And the parts for that are on the tavern right now, and they're not very expensive. So if someone wants to come in and start digging around, yeah, I think you can have 3-6 heroes right off the bat that are ready to go.
Exactly.
Will they be the best heroes? Who knows? But if it's a good gamer,
And
to
I
make up
think
for
we're getting
things.
some static from your mic, friend, if I'm not mistaken. But what and I don't want to be I don't want to be arrogant. I don't want to be arrogant and say that no, it's an outsider can't come in and they won't be able to compete. Because I think you're right. If eventually, inevitably, they will be able to compete. And I don't want to sort of overstate the fact that the game's complicated. Games as complicated as any other games out there. Of the same caliber, of the same ilk. So to say, an outsider won't be able to come in and compete successfully and sort of be that top tier individual, that's gonna happen. And eventually that person, or those people will come in and win sort of a top prize, and good on them, kudos. But at least at onset, I think we all have a pretty good chance at winning and competing. Are you guys convinced that your stable of in your stable of heroes, you have the pieces to be able to put together a fairly competitive team?
No,
Interesting.
I
don't have
like, I
any
don't
level
have.
20s.
Yeah, I don't have
20s.
6 mythic level 20s with greater stones. Like, that's just the fact of it. I don't have that yet.
But it's not just the stone heroes. I'm convinced that that'll be a fundamental building block. That'll be important, but it's not going to be the end all be all. It's the equipment, it's the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, SI. I mean, I think I would answer that with, I think you understand the heroes and how to put them together better than most. So you have that, and you're farming a lot of equipment. I saw a nice shield today. So
Thank you.
you can make the hero. I feel like the heroes are the easiest part at this point.
No, I think the
heroes are
leveling,
cheap.
like high level heroes, though.
Yeah,
no,
it does take time.
That's the issue. I think for me, it's like I've been doing these high level dark summons just so I can like burn through some commons and uncommons that I've been leveling, and if someone came and just bought the mythic floor and did that, I think it would be very easy to create top tier caliber amazing heroes. Like very easy. But that's the thing, is if a few people came and did that, it would quickly become very, very expensive to do. Like very like not just DFK like token price wise. And then so that's the thing, is like it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, do I want to win because I've been in this community so long? Yeah. But like at the same time, isn't the thing we've all been hoping for that someone comes in and like cares about the outcome of this so much that they're willing to stay in this community, pump up the dollar amount just by their presence and activity? And yeah, at the same time, yeah. So I do think that new people can come in and win if they like take a little bit of time to learn how to put it together a team. But that said, I think there is something to your point, Sergeant, about the very first one. Like people acquiring the knowledge sufficient to know what I know about just buy level 15 mythics, try to get same class, right, and pair them up in the pit. Sure, you might get rugged a few times. Just come up with enough bankroll that you can anticipate that, and you're good to go. And once they acquire that knowledge, which might be like after one loss. So I think maybe Sarge, there's some merit there, but ultimately, I want people to come in here and kick my ass.
No, absolutely.
And
Yeah, I
then
think
kind of one thing with that. I mean, the guys who are going in depth with the heroes, with the moves. I mean, from what I'm seeing, most of them are on the level of like an excited dungeon master who has a little extra time on his hands that he wants to spend diving into this. Like when my first son was born, I had nothing to do but watch competitive Pokemon, and nobody I've seen here has that level of skill to like make the connections between what's going to be that like synergistic team that everyone is going to want to steal the next tournament after he's busy thinking of a new one, or she. So I haven't seen it. Maybe it's because we don't have enough to work with, but I mean there's like a level of commitment that like excited D&D players have, and then there's like professional like combat game players, and to my knowledge, I haven't really seen anyone in this community.
No, and
offense,
to that,
guys.
and to
Prove
that
me
point,
wrong.
Skiller's not wrong. Hey, I'm not a gamer either. I mean, you're when it comes to competitive play, Yeah, there you go. I'm not a game. It's like it's on the spectrum. Like I am, I barely show up. These people. They're not just wired to be able. They're playing chess. And I'm here. I've said it before. I'm playing Connect Four, and you're gonna have these people playing 3D chess. And they're just gonna be better than you. Yes, inevitably, eventually. Um, but maybe not at the onset. Koopa, were you gonna say something? I think.
No, I was just chuckling at the whole Skiller comment that Sticks and Turn keeps putting up there. I loving it.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
trying to make it easier.
you're trying to make it easier. I've got some good words, SI. You know that.
I can see clearly you know nothing about the law. It seems like you have a tenuous grasp on the English language in general.
Fact. Well, I want we're talking about I'm talking about spectrum, sort of opposites. This statement is true, and I think it'll work.
Floor heroes are $1. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
But it was a recent stream. I think, Brent, you were calling this out. Yes, I wish heroes were $1. I think floor heroes are pennies on the dollar. But and that's fine because it's these competitive. You were looking at, I think, level 10 archers, if I'm not mistaken, rare and above. Those are still priced at very reasonable prices. If you're a seller, and I think that's what we're looking for. That's what we're needing. I think that's healthy. As far as the price of these heroes, I mean, do you guys, how do you guys feel about this? I mean, is there any concern there? I know we look and sort of harkening back to what we were chatting about earlier, hero inflation. There's always going to be a demand for nice heroes. Is this not true? And you're muted, friends. But I'm sure you've got some good words too.
You guys missed it. That was gold. What I just said. But no. I mean, I think archers are priced that way for a reason. They have a use case and a very good one as far as the PvE goes. Now, I think with the Seer we get another hero that there's an extended use case for. As we get closer to PvP and it sounds like we're getting another hero in kind of short order here. So as that kind of builds out, I think that's healthy for the tavern. But good heroes and good pieces, mythics, legendaries, things like that will always have value. It's the commons and the uncommons, maybe not. If mat prices go up, then maybe the large farmer armies start making sense again, and I think that would pull the floor up a bit. But a lot of heroes out there.
I think we've transitioned away from this narrative of farming armies. I know some of us are still there. I think to like the Zans of the world who are really hearkening or really sort of trying to achieve this huge threshold of massive hero stables to be able to farm, and sort of that narrative sort of died down with and I don't know if it's the PvP conversation or the fact that let's face it, if you're profession questing today, you're not getting your money's worth necessarily. But Kupo, I mean, I know you are trying to develop sort of, you're sort of thinking maybe a few steps ahead, developing a crafting army. Hero prices, is that of any concern to you?
Yes. Right now it's a bit of a concern because they are ridiculously cheap. I mean, I honestly, like, every day I've just been buying up a couple of heroes that are worth like 40 to 50 cents and just smashing them together to see if I get anything out of it. Sometimes I'm putting them towards my crafting army. Other times just doing it for fun. But just trying to get some of those heroes out there just because the fact there's so many of them, it really is causing a huge inflation to the market. But at the same time, like you said, I'm also trying to build up my crafters army. So I am buying those stones. I'm making my stones. I'm using the stones, utilizing them that I feel in the heroes that could be best suited to try to create these crafters. And I'm trying to build up like my crafting army. So hopefully by the time crafting is out, we might start seeing a little bit of a change in the hero market within the DeFi Kingdoms economy. Start seeing some positive changes, hopefully, as PvP comes in. So yeah, right now it's a bit of a problem, but I'm hoping that the ecosystem is going to start panning itself out. Because if we're going to expect to have like an expanding ecosystem with new players in it, we need heroes. So that is a must. So we basically just got a lot of heroes on the sidelines just waiting for these people to come in. And hopefully these people want to try to make their committed armies also, which means hero burning and hero creating. And hopefully there will be a turning point where we're not going to be so lopsided with these heroes, where we can actually have a steady balance. Those who took the initiative now, non-financial advice, trying to create their armies, whether for crafting, for PvP, for the questing initiations that might be going on later on, depending on what they're going to be releasing when expeditions, other things come out later on, new type of tokens that we can possibly mine or forage or whatever. But right now, yes, hero inflation is a bit of a problem, but it's all, I'm hoping it's all going to bounce out basically with what the team has going on.
You said something interesting. Did you say you dark summoned a pair of heroes?
I dark summon daily, but it's usually just buying 2 eggheads off of the market and just smashing them together and hoping I get some yoke out of it. It's a lot of just maybes. Like sometimes, like, oh, here's a 0 priest and here's a 0 wizard. Maybe I'll get myself a summoner out of it. You know, maybe it's good enough to keep. Maybe it's good enough to put back in the tavern. But yeah, I've been dark summoning quite a bit recently, just because they're just very cheap, these floor heroes right now. You see all these people out there just literally putting hundreds of heroes at a time, and these things like are literally costing like 20 to 40 cents a shot. So it's not that hard to just grab a few and just see if you can get something better just from the floor right now. So there's just so many heroes out there that it's possible to do something like this.
And I sort of jump on that because I just dark summoned recently as well, and I dark summoned a I can't remember the classes, but it was a basic common hero with resurrection and an advanced skill, and I lumped them together. I lumped them together with another basic common with second life, and I think there was another advanced trait there. Things I would have not done a year ago that I'm seeing more and more and more of. And I think I heard KP said he dark summoned something recently. Dag's friends, SI, you guys have been dark summoning for a while. Dags, did you dark summon PJ Heroes for the hell of it? I mean, just like, what are we doing? What's changed in the last couple months that we're all of a sudden, hey, let's just toss these in there and see what happens.
So
well, for the people on the screen, not much.
We did find that I think there have been like roughly around like I think it's like it was a crazy number of PJ Heroes that have been burned. We were working on it with Zipper in the Jewelers Discord. It's in there somewhere, but I think it's like something in like the 60s or something. And like at least 60 have been, or was it maybe it was like a crazy number. I can't remember. I think J-Dub was working on it. I'll have to get back to you guys on that. But I'm not the first person to kill PJ Heroes for fun. Like there's a lot of them that are gone. But I don't know why I did that. I think it was just because we had Brovia on, and I wanted to mesh his favorite thing with my favorite thing, and you can't send a dark summon hero on a PJ right now, so we just sent a PJ hero on a dark summon. It just made sense to me. And it was a shit hero, I'll tell you that. I think I just didn't even level it up. I just threw it straight in the tavern at like
you realize you killed Brovia just a little bit with that.
Nah. It takes more than that to kill him.
No, he's got some thick skin for sure. But I'm surprised by this reoccurring theme. We're all at a position or at a point. For me, I know it's sort of sounding like I'm flip flopping on statements. I said, hey, I'm waiting to see what comes out, sort of determine what I dark, what may make an awesome hero to dark summon. Then, I was bored. I said, let's toss them together and see what happens. But, I think we all know, let's not, lie to ourselves. The best heroes for PvP are going to be these dark summon heroes. That is not a hot take. That's just, I think, a fact we've all learned to accept at this point in time. The way I see it is window on creating a top-notch PvP hero is months away. My guess, before end of year, I might be.
Oh, you mean like for use at the beginning of launch?
Correct. Yeah. For use at beginning of PvP launch. If you wanna participate. And again, I'm sort of jumping on that because, like Dag said, a couple PvP tournaments with hefty prize pools are gonna attract these gurus from other games into DFK, and once those people come in, I'm mess out of luck at that point in time. So my window is a short window, and if I have any chance of beating Francis Archer, I best start yesterday. Yeah. We'll
Yes.
see. Heroes, awesome heroes you've dark summoned. What have y'all dark summoned lately?
Well, I did a dark summon today with a pair of level 15 uncommon archers. It did come out an archer, so that was pleasing. I only used a regular finesse stone because I kind of got tired of using greater stones on the commons and uncommons, even though my first one ripped at mythic. But that said, I did burn a lot of commons after that kind of sucked just as bad as their parents. So went with the normal finesse, got another uncommon archer, but this one will be better than either of its parents. What I'm thinking now is I get them to the commons and uncommons at 15, dark summon those ones, and then their spawn, if common and uncommon, they've earned the right to level up to 20, where they will again be dark summoned.
Brilliant.
I've got some uncommons and commons that are right up there stat wise. You never know what you'll get with that regular finesse stone. Could be good enough.
I'm not just using the card as my sole criterion. These were weak performers compared to their peers.
Mm-hmm. No. I meant the one that you got out of the pit.
Oh yeah, right. That's why I'm giving him the opportunity.
We were talking.
To cut 20.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about rarity before, and I think a few of us were acting like mythics or busts. With a level 20 cap, the RNG could be beaten, so to speak. Have to see. I'm excited for more heroes to get to level 20, so we really see where we stand as we go into PvP.
Yeah, absolutely. And with how this game's been progressing, they kind of said that they want to keep level 20 to be the cap for a while as they further progress out the game. And there's a lot of us that actually got to be reaching that point. I personally have a couple of 17s and 19s right now, so I'm on the cusp of hitting those 20s. And this is without power leveling my characters. This is just from them questing and doing void hunts and stuff like that. So we're going to start seeing a lot more 20s, which means there's going to be more opportunities for us.
That's impressive. You're already hitting or nearing that top threshold there. I was too stubborn for the longest time. I let my heroes sit at whatever level they were sitting. And the other day I bought well over 100 Moshkas or Mokashas, to try and catch them up. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why did I wait so fucking long to just if I was gonna buy them, I should have bought them weeks, months ago. I sort of times of the essence for me if I'm trying to level them up to then be able to dark summon them. But
I just bought a whole bunch of Mokshas myself recently, but it's just because all right, Seer. Let's all get into the void hunts. Let's do it. Come on.
Well, it's contrary to popular belief, I am let me backtrack here. Seer is fun but bad. I've not had the opportunity to play with Seers. Mostly because Wowie's not told me how to play with Seers yet. The guy who thinks he's gonna be a slight chance of being competitive come PvP. Waiting for someone to tell him how to play Seer. But Essa, you've played Seer. You were mentioning. I saw. I think your recent stream you're running some Seers. Just crypto. Seer's fun but bad. I mean, true, wrong. What do you think?
I can't confirm or deny on the second part. I agree on the first part. Seer is really, really fun. Although I will agree that it takes me longer to get wins when I use the Seer than it does when I just say use Archer, Warrior, Knight, or a full damage comp. But that's not unexpected, right? So I don't conclude that it's bad from that. I'm not saying it's all just the saying, but that's the first indication that it might be bad to me because it's taking longer and I like to do it quick. And then also the damage, I don't know if it's there for the damage. I do like the whole idea of Artificer, I just kind of think its numbers need to be pumped up a little bit, maybe, or maybe I just need to build more int. I do have I have a few seers that are built pretty evenly int in Wiz, and on those ones, it's like some of those abilities feels pretty strong, the damage abilities. But if I don't have a lot of int going, it doesn't really feel worth it to go into the damage, like at least 30. You know, I'm talking like around 14, 15 tier. So if you're lower than that, like adjust accordingly. But that said, I mean, I really do like the 15 abilities. The divination is really fun because not only does it have the reduced mana cost, but it also improves your target's accuracy, which I like that for going up after Mighty Gust in the Rock Box when they have the evasion. It's kind of like an offset. Or if you have that, like, oh wow, if like I know 3 turns ahead that if I miss this one from my guy who has a lower chance to hit, I'm screwed. So you can just kind of buff him up, improve your odds significantly. So I think that's a really fun ability to use. I've been mixing up my builds. I've gone like the Artificer on the first 2 with the Sanctuary, which is the left side, and then back over to the Healing Stone. That feels fun. I've also tried the full Oracle build, and that's like those games take long, but at the same time, you kind of feel unbeatable if you have like any mana potions. You can't be killed, but you're also not killing them very fast. So I'll shut up now and let other people share opinions.
Yeah. So I think I would kind of push back a little bit on what just said. I think that they're bad for these PvE fights. And, you know, Hubert and Workhorse talked a lot about how they're balancing for PvP. There are a lot of, like, you know, there's a move that, what is it, the Ward, Osmotic Ward, which it blocks magical attacks, and we don't even have any of those yet, or besides the Demon Box, right? So, like, that right there is just not really coming into play. But in a PvP setting, that could be great, you know? So I think it's interesting. I find that it lacks offense, like SI was saying. You know, I think pairing it with warriors as the tank instead of knights has been really helpful for me. My first time I used it, it was with an archer knight, and I was left a little wanting there. But yeah, I think it's one of these that we're going to learn more about as we go. And yeah, it probably is going to need some tweaks, but you know, overall, I think it could be a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. Like the Seer is still very new, so they're going to be making lots of tweaks to this thing. Personally, I've been using the Wardstone, the Artificer, Sanctuary, and Rejuvenation Stone set up for the primary part because I've been mostly working with boars. The ones that are a little higher, I've also just been throwing up Barrier Stone because I just haven't really been testing it too much with the Rock Box yet. But as I posted a number of times on X, I have done the battle priest thing so many times where I was already using my priest as the attackers because I'm not comfortable enough to not go in without a priest just as of yet, like some of you guys are. But so I actually felt like I was getting like the battle priest that I've been wanting. They're actually a little bit more powerful as far as like throwing out their damage, but I also have the advantage of putting up the barriers and carry my guys also. So my teams, my tank-based characters that are able to take a little bit more hit, it's even easier for me to put out more damage, and I'm getting these battles done a little bit faster. But again, this is mostly for the boars right now. I really haven't used my Seers too much in the Rock Box because I don't trust my ability personally to see what I can do with them yet.
I just started using Warrior like 2 weeks ago. I mean, just the fact that you've introduced a new hero class in Seer, it's like now maybe in 3 months I start using Seers. I don't know. But Dags, I mean, what are you doing? Are you playing with Seers? Is that in your game plan? And if not now, in the near future?
Yeah, so I have like 3 Seers that I'm moshing. So they're like, they can go to level 12 or 13, but I'm just leaving them at level 1 and just chilling with them for a bit. And then the other ones I have are level 6 and 7. So I have like 3 of them that are 6 and 7. And I've just been throwing those in the boar hunts behind a knight and a warrior and just mashing Sanctuary, and it's been super successful to just get them to level up. So I'm not going to bring a level 6 against the chickens. But I mean, maybe I could. Who knows? I don't have a lot of time. I'm not gonna waste it. And then since I usually do my boar hunts where I'm like doing like 10 of them at a time, I kind of just zone out and just do the one move again and again. So, but yeah, I think they're gonna get nerfed. Um, they seem really powerful.
Where would you nerf them?
I didn't bother to think about that yet, but I mean, um,
Well, what feels the most powerful to you? Let me ask that.
the Oracle.
And why?
Really?
Yeah,
Shocking
that's
stuff.
unless I called it the wrong one. That's the one where you get the
You
speed
can't
buff
do
and the-
damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, I
mean,
really like Oracle too. I think Oracle's wild. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I just was trying to, pull some
it's
info out of you.
it's like my archers and my warriors hit so hard that my third character doesn't need to do any damage. All it needs to do is let them continue to hit hard, and it just doesn't feel. I don't know, man. It feels broken as shit.
I think one of the sleeper OP things about it is that you can put up a shield on any one of your turns if you have Sanctuary, right? And against the rock box, this has a really subtle and hard to notice, like not like hard to notice, but it's just like subtle and not really well displayed kind of advantage in that whenever they cast cheap, they are not breaking through that shield, but the barrier does prevent crowd control, so you're not getting confused by any of those cheaps coming out, and that. Like I basically, when I'm going Artificer, right, I'll have the Artificer shield pop up on the first turn. Hopefully I'm fast so that I'm up ahead. That's one thing I've learned. If I'm not going out first turn, I don't like this as much. But Artificer shield's up on the first turn when it doesn't really matter that because they're not going to cast cheap, right? Because it's the first turn. But then you have the ability on turn one. You're not blowing a bunch of mana, getting shields up during both. I really like that. You can just kind of have it ready as soon as the game starts, and since your third guy really never takes damage, you kind of just give yourself immunity to cheap in that third position, so you can plan that, plan your build around that, how you want to order your heroes. I think that part is a really kind of not fully understood aspect by most of the community. That's very helpful, makes it very strong.
And I wonder if that's a glitch because when I've been facing the boars, the bleeds have skipped my barrier damage and it's just gone straight to my HP.
So if you have a bleed on, that's what it's supposed to do. Like
Okay.
bleed, like damage over time effects go straight to your health. They skip barriers.
Okay, good.
I was gonna say, Dabs, with the amount of testing, it better not be a glitch because.
Well, I mean, I've had some glitches with like how my heroes are. As soon as I'll do an attack, they'll get the status effects from like an enemy attack 3 turns away, because it's just like the computer showing me the status effect as soon as it runs through it, but the animation hasn't caught up. You get what I'm saying? It's like my guy's been stunned, but Mama Box turns not for 3 turns. Well, I know she's going to cast Body Slam now, like that kind of stuff.
Let's well, Kupo, I'll let you go and then we'll hit another topic.
No, I was just basically agreeing with Sticks Intern with those like visual glitches and stuff, or like how like when you're doing like a boar fight, like when you start off the match, you notice that the person you had in position 1 and position 2 are automatically turned because after they do their first 3 moves, one of those little boars are gonna knock your character into the wrong position or something like that, or like how like they're doing like a wild charge, all your like HPs and stuff like that already been adjusted before like Mama even has a chance to run across the screen and stuff like that. So yeah, I understand what he's talking about with those like visual glitches.
Let's transition here to another topic. Let's hit this one. Aped into broken mechanics. No, we're not going to talk about broken mechanics, but let's chat about partnerships. There's some interesting things. We've got what is it, the Red Bear? I can't think of the name, and the name escapes me. TB. Koopa, what's it called? Save me. Throw me a lifeline.
We got ourselves the big red that's going on right now with the bear, where they're sponsoring 5 potential opportunities to win $25 in the big red currency, which is $TD. I actually won the first day, so I was very happy about that. So I got to see it firsthand and how it's going to play out. Winners basically get their winnings put onto an Avalanche wallet of their choice. It doesn't necessarily have to be the wallet that they won the Void Hunt with, but it will be placed on the Avalanche chain. And I've already talked to Dr. Zipper about how this is all going to be taking place. So anybody that does win, and if you put in your wallet address that you wanted to put towards and you don't see the TD being populated right away, don't fret. Apparently, the team is going to be communicating with them, and they're going to be sending out a bulk of addresses at a time, and then they're going to be distributing them over the course of the next couple of weeks. So that's basically how it's going to be playing out. So that's right now with Big Red. So it's very nice to see that they got a big sponsorship going on with that. It's an 80-day opportunity where there's $125 worth of these prizes going out on a day with 5 people that are able to win this thing. So that's a beautiful opportunity for us to earn ourselves a little bit more by doing these hunts.
Yeah, and that's one of the, first of all, congratulations, Google, on
Thank you.
being one of the first winners there. And that's one partnership. We've got Hercules being another sort of pseudo partnership as well. We've had Karate Combat. I know, Dags, you are participating in the Hercules Dex ecosystem. SI, I believe you are also participating in that as well. Between sort of the partnerships that have developed, hot or cold, I mean, give me your 2 cents. What are you thinking? I know, France, you're very much pushing for a dog with hat partnership. Now, we didn't get dog with hat, but we've got another meme going. Hot or cold? What are your guys' 2 cents on that?
Yeah, more partnerships are always good, right? I mean, that's a lot of money. That's incentivizing the hunts there. It's great.
Well,
it kind of felt like kind of out of like left field to me. So I wonder if this has anything to do with like the, this is just kind of what I'm thinking, because it's like TD isn't like George part of that, and he's one of our advisors. So I'm like, is this kind of like part of his advisorship? How does he benefit from this? Is it? Because I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know if that's a stretch, but I'm just kind of like, I'm always thinking that way now that Twitter has me primed to think about conspiracy theories. But
you create your own algorithm, man.
Well, it just sucks me in, and I read it, and then it's like, this dude just spent 20 minutes reading about a conspiracy theory.
Well, yeah, I tell this to Actual Sticks all the time, by the way. That's why I had that quip ready. He's always like, why am I seeing insert weird shit on my Twitter? And I'm like, well, it's because you've been looking at weird shit.
Right?
Fair. Just fair statement. SI, are you hot or cold on these?
I'm pretty hot on them. The reason I chirped up during Dags, though, is because I think like Dreamer actually made a friends with Moon Daddy, and this is one of his friends. Like, the connection is through him. Moon Daddy is my understanding. Had you considered that already in your tinfoil? I just was curious.
If it was Moon Daddy, I don't know. First time I heard of it was from Grady, and I kind of just like all of them.
I saw Dreamer on a Twitter Spaces a few weeks ago talking with the TD team, and like who was it? Warren Sapp as well. It was pretty cool. So I didn't know George was that involved. We'll have to compare tinfoil notes later. I got my crayons.
I
No,
think
either way,
Dreamer is advising, and I think Warren Sapp is advising both Kulo and TD. And why TD touchdown? I don't know. I don't know, connecting dots here. But the fact we talk about Kulo and STD in a DFK stream, something interesting. I mean, whatever gets the word out, I suppose. $25,000. Yes, it's magic money, but it's money. I'll take it.
Here's a question for you: if this is how much they're giving out, like in the hunts, the hunt sponsorships, I feel like a natural inference is that the PvP prize pool sponsorships got to be like at least 3 times that size, right?
Well, I don't know where I'm pulling this number from. Isn't
no, it is. You were right on the 25K. I'm pretty sure.
No, not the 25K, but the PvP allocation. Metis is allocated X amount to.
Oh, right. But I just meant like per tournament. Right. Not the aggregate amount.
Right.
So yeah, I do agree. It's got to be some, or like probably some subset of that. But I don't think they're going to blow all that in one tourney. So it's gonna are the tourney's gonna be like 25K, 50K? I don't know. $100? I don't know.
Well, I don't want it to be $5 or $100. I think 100 jewel tourney dag sort of liquidates and leaves, and he lights it on fire on his way out.
Explosion in the
More than that to
background.
get me to liquidate.
All in the graveyard.
Oh boy, gee, I wasn't prepared to talk on this, but I want to talk on it because I know I think we've all sort of dabbled in one way or another, either loosely connected or directly connected. Um, there's this narrative I've heard on Twitter. Every time it happens, I perk up and I go, "Oh my God, no, it's happening!" We heard it with Defire. Right? It's like it's the new DFK. DFK's dead, and stuff happened, and Defire is it's where it's at. Crypto Valley's it's the new DFK. DFK's dead, and Crypto Valley's done what it's done. Often imitated, not replicated. I mean, are you guys at a point like me where it's like the next DFK killer? You're just unfazed by it, maybe. Because I feel like I'm there. I feel like the next DFK is not gonna scare me as much as it may have scared me, a year ago, 2 years ago.
I view the next DFKs as an opportunity to, just steal some of that initial upside and literally bridge it back to DFK chain from Blast, like I did. So, I mean, that's the best way to look at them, in my opinion. On a more serious take, I mean, all the good things have a ton of people wanting to kill them. So I would be more worried if these things came up and people weren't even talking about DFK. Right? They didn't even mention it, but hearing that every single time a decent game comes up, there's always a bunch of people who mention its similarities to DFK. That's actually, in my opinion, a sign that we have a lot of recognition. Sure, there's the easy argument that a lot of crypto people have bad recognition. I will concede that point and say, we got to do the efforts to clean that up, and it's a long, slow process, but we're not out of the conversation even in those people's heads, which is actually not as bad of a starting point than most brands have to overcome, which is just total ignorance of the brand.
No, I'm fully on board with that. Also, it's like when video games say this is the next Zelda killer and all that stuff, and then it just ends up being smoke and mirrors, and it ends up not being that thing. The fact that they're even comparing us to what they're trying to overcome just puts a lot of confidence into what's going on with DFK.
Yeah, and you got to be careful though with that Sarge, because as a joke, we kind of talked about the Splinter meme with the Ninja Turtles when they're little kids and he's holding their hands, and then when they grow up, he's holding their hands, and we put DeFi Kingdoms as Splinter, and then some of the other games as the Turtles, and we got obliterated when we posted that on Twitter as a joke. The Jewelers X account was getting sniped. People from the community were like, "Oh, you guys are moving on to these other wannabes," and oh my God.
We've got a very passionate community. Let's say that much. But it's interesting to me, right? I mean, it's just we've made a lot of we've done a lot of work and effort and the collective the team has done a lot of work and effort to sort of put us in a position where you may have another project that comes, and yes, when I hear it, the next DFK, I've conditioned myself to think it's hey, it's a new liquidity pool that I can sort of make a boku money if I got in really early and then jump out sort of near immediately. That's what I'm sort of equating that statement to these days. But will there be sort of a game or a project out there that sort of if not competes with DFK, sort of stands on the same sort of pedestal? Maybe, but not now, not today. And like you said, SI, if it's on people's mouth, then maybe not too bad, not a bad thing. What isn't the next DFK, friends? Dog with Hat.
Ooh.
Dog with Hat is not the next DFK, but the Solana ecosystem's blowing up and it's doing things, I think. And it's made crypto millionaires maybe of some, and for those who didn't participate, like me myself here, I guess I can't complain too much because I neither got rugged nor made millions, I suppose. But
Yeah, it seems like ordinals are the next big thing. I told myself I'm dedicating tomorrow morning to learning what the hell they are and how they work.
once you
So
confirm that, let me know, and I'm happy to be your exit liquidity. Just tell me when, and I'm there.
I'm just trying to make Workhorse proud of me. Shout out Workhorse.
Workhorse. Woo! Final thoughts, gentlemen. Any final remarks here before we call it a night?
I've got one, actually. With the addition of Big Red being part of the pools, don't forget that on the recent AMA, we also got ourselves a contribution from Three Wolves with the Scylla Oxalotl DAO. And we also had Red Pen with the whole Team Goose with their Hunkabanoza. How do you pronounce that?
Honkapalooza.
There we go. I couldn't say that. What they got going on also. So with the Void Hunts coming up, we're going to get a big match of different prizes coming in. So look forward to that in the next couple of days. Honkapalooza. There we go.
Honkapalooza. Do we 420's when that out? Okay, tomorrow. When it starts, yes.
That's my understanding.
East Coasters, that'd be today.
Fair. Boo, East Coast. SI Degs.
It's been a great time hanging out tonight. Thank you, Koopa, for the idea to just go, buy up the floor of rare heroes and just dark summon them like wantonly without thought, because I'm about to have a good time. That's what you see me looking in the other direction all night. Ever since you said that, that's what I have been doing, is just buying them. I'm just gonna go like on a spree.
I tell you what, just recently, I just made myself a Dark Element Pure Alchemist Rare Scholar with a Lesser Witstone. So I was like, you know what? I'm taking that. And I got that from garbage. So that was kind of nice to get a win like that out of it. So you can get so much out of these things. It's like the floor is so low right now. This is our opportunity.
Yeah.
Reminder from KP, make sure you use that donate link pinned above to claim your 5 jewel. And for every 5 jewel you claim, Sir Starbuck gets 5 jewel. I think that's capped at 300 jewel, if I'm not mistaken. But claim that jewel. It's free jewel. Use that jewel to dark summon some more. 420 is when it's starting. We're looking at 13.37 honk per day. Void Hunt raffles. And Honkapalooza. Yes, Degs. Any closing remarks on your behalf?
Well, I was also listening to Kupo and was wondering why half of my clicks were failed transactions, and I must have been clicking on the same ones as Sticks and Turn, because I bought 50 rare archers during this stream. I bought a 4-axe, and I bought a bunch of 3-star combat pets. So,
let's go. I didn't even put any thought into it. I filtered by rare, and I've just been clicking on every single one. So I did notice a few failures on archers, though. That's funny.
Snipe. Does this work? Maybe. There you go. Honkapalooza snipe attack. Well, there you go. Let's see that video. That's more of these. We want to see more short form content.
I didn't want it to be like the focus. It was just supposed to, distract. So when you said let's watch that video, I had to cut it.
Okay. Well, maybe we end with this. Couple of notes. A reminder. Any donations made to the link at top, those go to Starbuck and family. We'll do. Here we go. Another donation. Thank you very much, anonymous donor. We'll end with this because I thought it was fun. I thought it was creative. Maddie, I miss you. Come back to me. Come back.
As many of you are aware, I chose the pirate to be the next class coming out, and I was incorrect.
Yo, listen up, let me break it down. Natty says, he's been frail, off the pilot with the glass that was be mixed, but he missed it. Got it wrong. I must confess. Now I apologize on the tight shit, the chaos shit that you made upside, looks like rough side. It was the class that was meant to be. Maddie, the addiction was a straight up miss. No pirate shit. Who said see it and home.